This is brought to you by the Belize Bank, our country, your bank, and Smart, bringing people together.
Live from the GBM studios in Belize City, it's Open Your Eyes. Start your morning right with your hosts, Sabrina Daly and Isani Caetano.
Good morning and welcome to Open Your Eyes.
Start your morning right.
I am Isani Caetano.
And I'm Sabrina Daly.
And today is Monday.
It is a Monday.
February. A rather chilly start to the week.
Very, very chilly. You should say cold. It's very, very cold here, at least in Belize City. It is cold, Isani. My nose is running, my fingers are numb, and we have even our viewers on TikTok agreeing with me. That's right, because we also have our very own TikTok page, and some of them were even telling me this morning, why are we up so early? It's too cold to be up so early.
Belizeans are overreacting, man.
We are not, but I'm going to have to shut this off now, as I have been religiously doing, and I'm going to head now over to you guys online, tuning in, and wherever else you are right now in Belize City, in Belize, the country, and abroad as well. Good morning to ya. I know it's quite a nippy Monday morning. I can tell you, Isani, when I got up, I noticed that the temperatures dropped, at least in my neck of the woods, as low as 51. I don't know about you, but that's practically snowing for me.
Look, I know Belizeans are overacting because my kid doesn't have school today, and a lot of other schools are having casual day for people to, bundle up and all that stuff. It ain't that serious, man. But we're at work. It's Monday morning.
Just before we move on from this cold topic, it kind of reminds me of those folks that live in the States or live in wherever it's cold, and then they're like, only worry about at least 60 degrees. We have 20 degrees over here. It's not, we live in the tropics. We are not used to the 50s, okay? So when we pull out with my ball sweaters, give us a little break.
I'll say this much, right? I'll say this much. Perhaps I hadn't experienced a cold front such as this since my childhood, when we used to actually had cold front without rain.
Yeah.
So for the past few days, I've noticed it hasn't been raining. And I'm hoping that those who are enjoying the cooler temperatures can do so without having to,
Did it drop as low as this then as well?
I wouldn't be able to say.
You remember?
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to say, but I'm certainly hopeful that there is no rain and people could actually enjoy a good cold front.
Well, just like how the rain no stop the reggae jam here in Belize, the cold is not either. There was a lot that took place over the weekend, and it's a Monday morning. We have some topics to jump into this morning in terms of what you can expect as well. Let's begin.
All right, so we're going to be having a two-part conversation with UDP leader Tracy Panton, and then we're going to be understanding the Nipah virus with Dr. Hidalgo. So the Nipah virus is something that's perhaps novel to a lot of Belizeans, right? And thirdly, building future innovators at ITSAT STEAM Academy. Those are our three topics for this morning's show.
Looking forward to each and every one of them. And also our couch conversation this morning. 5 things we think you should know before you leave your homes this morning. Starting off with perhaps what was headlines over the weekend. We know yesterday Belize welcomed President of Guyana, His Excellency Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali. We also got some news, and we have been highlighting in our newscast for the better part of last week, grieving mothers demanding answers after baby dies at KHMH. Also, a domestic dispute, Isani, abroad turns deadly for Belizean artists. We also shared about that on our newscast last week as well. Schools ditching uniforms, as you mentioned. Today at least, I know there are quite a few high schools who have presented today as casual day, come as warm as possible, but some of them made an extra note, wear jeans. Don't be coming in no sweats or pajamas or anything like that. And then finally, Cuba has just 15 to 20 days of oil for the country left. Quite an interesting topic, that last one, but Perhaps we should begin with some formalities. What took place yesterday? We headed out to the Philip Gosen International Airport to welcome the president of Guyana. That is Dr. Irfan Ali. It was a state visit, and I know there's quite a difference between a state visit and an official visit where protocol is concerned. However, he has a full itinerary ahead of him for the next 3 days, and it's going to be quite an interesting visit. For various reasons, but perhaps we could begin with what we can expect today.
Yes, so today there's a special sitting of the House of Representatives as part of the state visit of President Ali. Of course, to the best of my knowledge, this is his first time to Belize, right? And so he was received yesterday with full pomp and circumstance, right? But here's an interesting point, and I mean no harm. It's just a question that people are asking with respect of his arrival on a commercial aircraft as opposed to perhaps a charter flight like we've seen other heads of state and other dignitaries arrived in Belize, right? So yes, yesterday around 1:20, this aircraft landed at the PGIA. And Dr. Ali alighted, as I've mentioned, to full pomp and circumstance from the Belize Police Department, the Belize Defense Force, and of course, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, right? So there you see him at the dais. There was the playing of the national anthem.
Yes.
There was the inspection of the Guard of Honor and all of that good stuff. So this morning, all roads lead to Belmopan. And this is going to be not only a special sitting of the House of Representatives, as I mentioned, but this is going to be the first use of that particular space since its renovation. So we've been able to have a brief tour of the newly renovated Assembly building.
Yeah.
It won't be inaugurated and proper until later this month, but he gets
to christen it.
Yes, right? And so we'll have a team out there this morning because
Yeah.
we'll be following, virtually every step of this visit. And so definitely Paul will be in Belmopan this morning covering the special sitting of the House.
This is an exciting day for all of us, really. One, being able to view what that presentation will look like. I know that you were also able to kind of get a preview of how the National Assembly building also looks in terms of what media representatives can
Yeah.
expect for placements and coverage and whatnot. But just to give you guys an overview of who President Ali is, he is the 10th and incumbent head of state. He's the president of Guyana. Guyana is a country located in South America. However, it's also a part of CARICOM.
Much
and a
like
lot of
Belize
people,
is Central American, but
exactly.
Caribbean.
So I wanted to get into that a little bit, just to compare the two countries. A lot of people perhaps would have asked how Guyana is a part of the Caribbean in the first place. And as you rightly mentioned, perhaps very similarly, the way that Belize is also a part of CARICOM, even though it is located in Central America.
And Suriname, if you want to expand it.
Yes.
Because Suriname is also part of South America, but it identifies as Caribbean.
Yes,
as well.
and Guyana also shares border with Suriname as well as Venezuela, the Atlantic Ocean to the north as well. This is a relatively large country. However, its population is still pretty small. It's less than 1 million people. But I think for me, there are key things that stood out. One, the obvious, the position, the economic position that Guyana is in right now as of its exploration with oil since 2019. Its economy has skyrocketed since tapping into that. But one of the things that the Prime Minister mentioned, I believe it was last week or perhaps the week before, is how similar Guyana is to Belize, even in terms of how it looks as well. He mentioned that parts of it looks kind of like Belize City even.
You're perfectly right. But the language is one of the points that most people immediately could recognize.
Yes.
Creole.
Yes.
We speak almost similarly. And I can say this because I have a Guyanese friend, right? And when he moved to Belize a couple decades ago from Guyana with his parents, when he was talking to us, it was a bit difficult to distinguish at first that he's not from here. The similarities in the the accents and stuff like that, right?
Which also has to do with its colonial ties,
Yes.
as we mentioned,
Yes.
very much like Belize. Guyana was a colony, was a British colony all the way up to 1966. And so English actually remains its official language. And even more so, it's the only country in South America with English as its official language.
Yes.
Again, a lot of similarities to Belize.
Yes. And so, yes, so now visiting Guyana, I've had a chance to go there twice.
Oh, you've been? Okay.
Yes.
When was the last time you've been there?
2017, I believe it was.
So pre-oil.
Yeah. Not that oil would have mattered. It's just being around the people.
Yeah.
It's for me, it's a split in terms of the population. A percentage of it is Black or African, as we
Yes.
call. The other percentage is Indian. And so there's this, how do I say? You have people who are primarily from two different races.
Kind of like indigenous divides, right?
Right. But when you look at the place itself, so I've been to Georgetown.
Okay.
And I've been to other rural areas in Guyana, and it is indeed reminiscent of certain parts of Belize, right? Especially the rural areas, right? As we mentioned earlier, it only has a population of about 1 million or so people, but the place is so huge that the population's sparse, right?
Yeah.
So you have huge areas of agricultural
Forests.
land.
I believe
Yeah.
up to 80% of its land is just forest.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that you highlighted the indigenous population because, quite interestingly, President Ali comes from an Indo-Muslim kind of like heritage, and he's the first Muslim to be elected in Guyana as well. And I believe also he might be the second in South America. But I wanted to highlight some of the perhaps opportunities that exist for Belize
Yes, I
and
was gonna go there.
Guyana, where
Yes.
trade, other industries are concerned. You spoke about agriculture and forests, and I think that's an opportunity that Belize and Guyana also has. One of the things that Paul highlighted yesterday was food security partnerships and what exists already in place. I believe for Belize, we know that Belize has been, or at least CARICOM has found that up to $5 billion US dollars in food is imported, and so they rely a lot on importation. And I think there's an opportunity for Guyana and Belize, knowing that we have all of these land available. We could be considered the breadbasket for CARICOM even. We also highlighted some other areas where Belize has been tapping into trade partnerships with Guyana. Up to 2024, Belize has been sending food or exporting food to Guyana. Some of those products include beverages and spirits, vegetables, fruits, nuts, fats and oils as well. And so I'm hoping that this recent visit also provides some other areas that they can tap into. We have some other industries that recently opened. We have our flour, we have noodles even, Isani. So that's something that we can probably look at as well.
It speaks to the bilateral relationship between both countries. So if we're speaking about similarities, right, in the context of these memoranda of understanding that are supposed to be signed during this visit, food security, as you've mentioned, is one of them. And the fact that between both countries, so much arable land that we could produce various food items for the region without having to import as much as we do. So as you mentioned earlier, $5 billion US dollars and over 4,000 items being brought in from outside of the particular region is a heck of a lot if you look at it that way, when we should be able to provide food and sustenance amongst ourselves as one block. Right? But yes, it's an exciting time. We're going to have the leader of the opposition join us elsewhere in our show this morning, and that's one of the questions that I want to put to her in terms of the overall expectation from this visit for the opposition party.
I think the last thing that I wanted to mention in regards to perhaps some opportunities that Belize could potentially have with partnership with Guyana is the position that Belize finds itself in as perhaps a bridge into Central America as well, or when we think of trade. And that's been a point that we have mentioned for the CARICOM region in general. And so I'm hoping that that's something that could be discussed. We spoke of agriculture. We spoke of other possible areas that the country could maybe tap into. We have a booming BPO industry as well, Isani. Could that be something that we could potentially see as well?
Yeah.
There are several areas to look at, but finally, I think one of the things that I wanted to mention is the obvious. Guyana has seen a lot of success and talks around its economy since 2019, and that has to do with oil exploration, and what that has done for the country in just a short span of time. When we look at call it 2019 or 2020 to 2025, there's been a lot of changes, and so I think a lot of eyes are on the country right now.
It's one of the fastest growing economies in the world, right? Considering the fact that it sits on the largest oil reserves that has been found in any country across the globe,
region, yeah.
Right? Across the world, actually, right? More so than neighboring Venezuela. And you would understand that there's a dispute between Guyana and Venezuela
Yes.
over oil reserves, right?
We could get to that
But
as well.
the interesting part for me in all of it is that Prime Minister Briceño said on Thursday, there's no sign of a Petro-Caribbean agreement between Belize and Guyana. So don't even think about it, right? No big money to borrow, no profligate spending and all of these things. It's just a visit where they will be having discussions to see how both countries can move forward as partners and to help the CARICOM region.
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't. I never may I beg immediately though, Isani. So you want to warm up at least to the country.
You know, Crofigo, right?
Yeah.
We always go hat in hand and hands out asking, where to bring for you, right? And in this case, PM is saying, no, let's hold
because
off
it's
on
important that we also have some type of exchange as well. What could we give to Guyana too?
I want to segue into another conversation since we're
Yeah.
discussing regional news,
Yes.
right? So 15 to 20 days of oil remaining for Cuba is a serious issue, right? You would understand, perhaps as a student of history, how crushing the embargo has been on Cuba.
Yes.
And I don't know, and I'll say this speaking from myself, I don't understand why after so many decades the United States still has this pressure, this economic pressure being brought to bear on Cuba. Cuba has been a close ally of a lot of countries in this region, including Belize, right? And so with the capture and the arrest of Nicolas Maduro in Venezuela earlier in January, and the fact that the United States is now focused on Venezuela's oil and its manufacturing capabilities and what have you, the idea that Venezuela was supplying Cuba with oil in the context of the embargo and trade relations being very, completely zero between the United States and Cuba, this was a lifeline for Cuba, being locked off from this particular part of the world. And so for the U.S. now, clamping down on this lifeline, 20 days of oil remaining. And you know how critical oil is to everything, actually.
Yes.
To everything. You're talking about transportation, you're talking about energy, you're talking about all the other primary or basic things that we need to survive as humanity.
That adds to the economy as well. I immediately think then of Guyana and perhaps an opportunity that exists for them to perhaps be the supply then for Cuba. But there's a lot of conversations, there's a lot of different angles that you can go into when you talk about Cuba, even looking at their relationship with the United Nations as well, and how much countries, including Belize, has rallied for them to sit at the table as well. And so we'll definitely have to be watching this when we think of 15 days, 2 weeks. What happens immediately after that? Do we see this being resolved before? And how much more will the people of Cuba perhaps have to suffer and endure even. We think of our students. We have a healthy population of Belizeans that study in Cuba for various different degrees as well.
Particularly medicine.
Yes, and we'll definitely have to be watching this. But we do got to wrap up this conversation, Isani, and move things along. I just want to really quickly plug in a lighter note on the cold front conversation. I know that there are quite a few schools who have been issuing notices that in some cases you can come in casual clothes. I believe there are some putting a fee to it. I believe this is La Immaculata in Corozal saying that you got to pay $1 to wear that casual clothes. And if you do not, then show up in your uniform. I believe Edward P. High School. This is Sacred Heart saying you can show up today in warmer attire. I know that Edward P. High School, they have also issued the same notice as well. They're calling it Switch the Gear, Stay Warm Hair. And so students who are currently getting ready for school, if you have not seen this notice, you can go to school warmer today.
I had to dampen some sibling rivalry at home before I came to work, right?
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because my son doesn't have classes this morning or today because
Is it because of the cold?
Yes.
Are you
But my daughter, and I talk for myself, I don't feel cool, right? But so my son gets to stay at home. My daughter has to go to school. And she's green with envy because she would have wanted a long weekend, right? Because essentially, for kids at at Bernice York, they end up getting a third day.
I don't know.
We have to come to school. We have to come to work. They have to go to school.
That's true. The work thing I get.
Today.
But if I put myself back in time, right, and I think of myself as a kid, I would be so excited to pull out my liwam cap and go show off my sweater. You know, you can hang out with your friends. This is an exciting day. You know, it's a very unusual time. You're showing up.
A lot of people that got one sweater, so there's nothing to show off about.
I agree, but still, even if that are one sweater you have, you're still excited to take part in that type of activity. So I don't know. I get it. Some want to stay home, watch cartoons. Some want to go in school and still hang out. But we do got to wrap up this conversation. If you have any thoughts on either of the topics mentioned, let us know in the comment section. At this time, we will be taking our first break. And as we mentioned, we will be having a two-part sit-down with the leader of the opposition and the UDP's leader as well. Tracy Panton will be speaking about various different topics. Tune in, share some of your thoughts, ask questions in the comment section, and we might just bring them up. We'll take our first break, and we'll be right back.
Tech Systems understand that technology isn't just a tool, it's a game changer. At home, smart devices and AI are revolutionizing daily life. In education, tech is making learning more interactive and accessible for students and educators alike. For businesses and government, it's driving innovation, streamlining operations, and unlocking growth, leveraging tech for better services, infrastructure, and security. At Full Tech Systems, we help you thrive with cutting-edge solutions, partnering with leaders like Dell, HP, Microsoft, APC, Fortinet, Cisco, and Tomy 8. We deliver the right products for your needs, whether it's boosting efficiency, improving customer engagement, or scaling operations. Connect with us and let's drive innovation together. Full Tech Systems, your technology center, where you come for the price, but stay for the service.
In the heart of the Kaya district, Calico Jacks is proving that sustainability and success can go hand in hand.
When Calico Jacks wanted to move to solar energy, the biggest difficulty for us was the finance. Belize Bank believed in our vision, and we are very happy and grateful that they gave us this opportunity for the financing.
Through the Credit Risk Abatement Facility, a partnership between Belize Bank and the CARICOM Development Fund, Small and medium businesses can access financing for renewable and energy-efficient solutions with reduced collateral requirements.
Here at SCSB, we're grateful for Belize Bank to make it easy for our clients to go green. We're proud to work with businesses like Calico Jacks to help them lower their costs and their carbon footprint.
At Belize Bank, we're powering Belize's transition to renewable energy, one business at a time. Together with our partners, we're making sustainable financing accessible for all.
Belize Bank, financing a greener, stronger Belize.
Man, that's me. My data done, and I really need to get my order out today.
Really? Well, you can join our Smart Group plan.
Really? How that work?
Easy, let me tell you.
Whether it's family, friends, or your small business, we've got the perfect plan for every group. More members equals more savings, more connections. Smart Group plans bring the connectivity you love to you and your circle. No one gets left behind. Explore Share One package option and add on unlimited data, calls, and SMS for the entire group for less than $50 per member. Visit any Smart showroom countrywide or email sales@speednet-wireless.com to sign up today. Smart, bringing people together.
February is all about Honda. Get special pricing and discounts on all Honda products. Enjoy up to 25% off select Honda products and 20% off Honda parts. Don't forget your B-Bucks whenever you make a purchase. There will also be a bike rally throughout the streets of Blue Creek and Belize City on February 7th and 14th respectively. All participants will get a free oil change. Check out our Facebook page for more details. Love Your Honda is all about deals and discounts on Honda products throughout the month of February. Only at Banquet Equipment Parts Service.
Unwrap the joy of crystal clear picture and sound from Iowa, the brand that offers you affordability and exceptional quality. Iowa has a wide range of exceptional products to choose from, such as TVs, speakers, headphones, home appliances, and much more at affordable prices that won't break the bank. Enhance your audio-visual entertainment experience with Iowa, and for your convenience, parts are readily available in country for hassle-free maintenance. You can find Iowa products at your local electronics store countrywide. Choose Iowa, the best in home entertainment and household appliances.
All right, on the one fun day on, the window open and the light may turn off. You look like you listen to me, Jamie.
Not only that, I even get a new coffee mug where keep my coffee hot all day.
I'm impressed. You don't look like you're so hard here.
Better than that, BL can change my meter to one of their new smart meter. They call it the AMI.
Oh, I hear about it on TV from BL. How do you know?
Yes, man. They don't reach the money better to change it right now. Let's go check it out.
Hey guys, I'm almost done here.
So now when you reach my area?
We're upgrading meters across Belize, house by house, business by business. Always look out for BL logo, uniforms, and IDs. BL will make you know when we're in the area. The EMI meter rollout is a part of BL strategy to modernize our energy services.
Well, you don't need to come in at my house, right?
Come in at your house, boss, only if you got something good for you.
BEL, bringing you a brighter tomorrow.
And welcome back. Our first and second conversations this morning are with our friends from the United Democratic Party. Joining us in studio this morning is the leader of the opposition and party leader, Tracy Panton.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And she is accompanied by Mesopotamia area rep, Lee Mark Chang.
Good
guys,
morning.
good morning.
Good morning on this
quite chilly.
Yeah, you brought some sun with you with
Yes,
that bright yellow. Thank
yes,
you.
I did bring some sun.
We are hoping that it comes out fully as soon as we step out the studio as well.
We want to, first of all, Mrs. Panton, get your take on the state visit. I know you guys are probably headed to Parliament right after your appearance on the show this morning. Talk to us from your perspective about the visit of President Irfan Ali of Guyana.
Well, I have a personal story to tell. My grandmother was Guyanese. My mother's mother was Guyanese, and so it's particularly interesting to get to meet him. I've been to Guyana just a couple times for CARICOM. I think that we do share a common history. I think we share common values. The president is very big on food security. I think that we have a golden opportunity in Belize to become the breadbasket of the region. Guyana is now focused on its oil exploration, but I really feel that we have an opportunity to continue to build on our trade alliances with Guyana.
As leader of the opposition, do you have opportunities to engage in dialogue with these heads of states when they come to Belize?
We certainly have an opportunity to meet with them, not formal meetings, but certainly we will be meeting today in the National Assembly. There was a reception last night. There is a luncheon after the sitting of the House. So we do have an opportunity to dialogue with them when they're here on their visits.
Let's switch over to some national issues now. I know we're going to discuss everything that's taking place within the party, but before we get to that, we have some discussions that I would want for us to engage in. I think highest on my priority list is BTL. That remains a live conversation. I know that over the course of the weekend, a pitch was made to the Northern Caucus of the People's United Party, and I was sort of having a conversation elsewhere where I wanted to know, what does a caucus have to do with, a pitch to purchase a utility company in this case? But that's a question for another forum. Let's get your take on it.
I think it's an appropriate question, actually. Now we're politicizing. Now the Prime Minister seeks to politicize his company's bailout by BTL. It is, in my mind, incredulous. You know, and I think many of your viewers would know what the position of the United Democratic Party is. I don't care what pretty paper or what bow you put on that gift. It is corruption at the highest level, blatant in our faces. BTL is a public institution, and we're using a public institution to provide a private gain for the Briceño family. Unacceptable. You know, all the trimmings that this consolidation, if you will, of our telecommunications provider will help us to be more competitive in view of the imminent arrival of Starlink makes absolutely no sense. The technology that Starlink will bring to Belize, we simply cannot match. And we will need to have some sort of redundancy in our telecommunications industry if our BPO industry will continue to be viable in this country. So it is simply a bailout of Speednet Smart in the interest of private gain. And I don't see how anyone, any right-thinking Belizean, let's look at Itisani. When we had a private monopoly, and we know the horror stories with that, and then we moved to nationalization, and the taxpayers of this country, 33% of that from our Social Security Fund had to pay almost $600 million $600 million, it's not $6, it's not $60, it's not six. Many of us in our lifetime will never know what $1 million looks like, much
Let alone
less 600 million. And now we intend to saddle the Belizean taxpayers with another 80 million. It would have been 170 million had we not made a loud noise about the cable providers. How is that acceptable? And 80 million is not the final price. We have to think about legal fees. We have to think about stamp duties. We have to look at closing fees. It's close to 100 million, if not more. And it's not a walk in the park, and it should not be a walk in the park. And we really ought to, as Belizeans, say no to the acquisition and no to the blatant corruption by this Presenu administration.
Let's get Mr. Chang in on the conversation at this point, and then I'll follow up with another question.
Hi, morning, guys. In reference to the BTL, if you notice that every presentation they make, it gets sweeter and sweeter. They're moving the goalposts constantly just to appease, to make it more palatable to the public. Garnering support from your own party is just wrong. If they want, put it out to a referendum. Let the people decide if we should buy smart. So every time they have a meeting, from when they had it with us, part leader, it was one thing, and it says, okay, 1 year no interest, and second year then they started paying, then it's 2 years now. You know, every time they try to make it a little bit more sweeter. 1 year guaranteed no rate, now it's 2 years guaranteed no rate increase, 3 years guaranteed rate. See,
No money down.
No money down.
Quick sale, fire sale, no money
And the next
down.
presentation they make will probably be the same again. They're going to increase the suites just to try and make it more palatable to the public. But we want to see if smart is really that good of a buy. Open up the books, let us know some numbers. The only numbers they said they are willing to show us is 2025. What about prior? Before they moved most of government business to smart.
So there was a valuation process that would have determined what the actual value of the 3 cable companies along with Smart was. I think this was done by Moore, if I'm not mistaken, right? Did you guys, in your position as opposition parliamentarians, get to look at any of that, or was that closed off from you?
Absolutely not. So this is a part of the serious concern that we have. There is a 10-slide power presentation that, with all the bells and whistles, of course, that BTL has put together for its board, which they're now shopping around, including the Northern Caucus of the PUP, with nothing to examine, no assessments, no independent evaluation as far as we are concerned. Nothing that forms the assumptions that would prove or satisfy that this is a good deal. There has been absolutely no justification if I, according to my assessment, we understand that Speednet wants out for obvious reasons, we believe. BTL is going to consolidate, and the Belizean people will have to carry the weight of that. How much more, I ask? How much more does the working poor in this country have to carry the burden of really bad policy decisions? SSB will only meet this Wednesday. The PUC met. This matter should have been taken to the PUC first to get some indication of what the regulator would say.
Which was going to be my next question, but yes.
That has not happened. The PUC board met in anticipating that this matter would come before them. They were split right down the middle. The meeting went late in the night. It had to be abandoned. What are we doing? What are we doing? If this is such a good deal, if all the reasons this deal should come to fruition is correct, then show us and tell us so that we, the Belizean people, can make an informed decision.
So I wanted to chime in really quickly because we have been hearing from several other players in the conversation aside from the United Democratic Party. We have also included in the conversation the unions, several unions that have come forward, NTUCB, the Public Service Union, and they were also present at Tuesday's protest that we would have also highlighted. Aside from that, we have also heard from social partner senators as well, expressing concern regarding this consolidation. And many of them, including the unions and senators, have expressed a desire for consultations to take place, which for me makes me think at least that perhaps after having a deeper understanding of this acquisition and this deal, they could potentially lean on the side of approval. For your case, the United Democratic Party, are you saying that this is a downright terrible idea across the board, consultation or not? We do not support the acquisition of Speednet.
We do not. The United Democratic Party, the inherent conflict of interest in this deal alone makes it a no-brainer for us. We cannot continue to accept what this government obviously is operating under the guise of almost authoritarian regime, that they will do what they want to do, and us as Belizeans must accept it. This should not have waited to the kind of uproar that we now have for the Britannia administration and BTL to come and say, okay, let's tell you something, anything. Think about this. Think about this. When the members of the BTL board was expected to rubber stamp this deal, they had seen no information. They received no information that they could review and process and make an informed decision. This is the board. Your BTL board was not aware of the details of this deal. Something is inherently wrong with all of this.
So two things that I have here, and I think if we're being honest about the conversation, Lord Michael Ashcroft is one of the bigger, if not the biggest shareholder in Speednet, right? Mm-hmm. You guys had an opportunity to meet with him at some point. Mm-hmm. What was that discussion like? Did this come up? Were you able to share your views on it during that conversation with him?
Yes, we did. We had a very candid conversation with Mr. Ashcroft. Certainly it was my sense at that time that the cable component was a concern for Speednet. When we met with him initially, that was still on the table. Now that has been removed. I don't know how involved Mr. Ashcroft is himself in the day-to-day running of Speednet, but we simply don't have any information for us to make an informed decision, for us to look at what the future projections of this company will be. First, it was 10 million down, and then the other 70 million would be pay over a period of 4 years. There's no discussion on will consumer rates at that time, will consumer rates increase, how we are going to deal with the workers in the telecommunications company, how we are going to address right now the real life issue of severance pay being paid to those workers who were part of the BTL scenario. We are asking, show us the numbers. The fact that up to now, when every organized group, the NGOs, the unions, the business community still have not received any kind of formal assessment, independent evaluation for which we can make an informed decision, still has not been provided. I think it speaks certainly volumes.
I want to take the opportunity to acknowledge Chairwoman Sheena Pitts for joining us in the conversation this morning. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Thank you.
Go ahead, Sam.
Yeah, so I want to take a step back and go to last week's Tuesday presentation that took place. We saw persons come out in numbers on St. Thomas Street at the BTL headquarters. Now, there's a lot of mixed reviews regarding what took place on Tuesday. We saw the United Democratic Party bring out its numbers, as well as several unions come out as well. I have to acknowledge that there was a divide in that presentation. The unions staying outside of the compound of BTL, and the the UDP supporters storming the headquarters of BTL. Before we get into what were some of the reactions, I want to ask, what was the intention on Tuesday?
The intention is the very message you now appreciate. Our voice should be heard. It was heard, and it was about our force being felt if needs be. Because I'm sure you can appreciate that in times like these, when the concern is on the backs of many Belizean, all Belizean, sometimes it's the right time for good trouble, and that is all a part of civil disobedience. So you saw that on display. And while I would invite you to not put apples and oranges together, the UDP is an organization on its own. The unions are organizations on its own. And there were no meeting of the minds between the two organizations as how they share their voices on that day. So where they chose to stay outside, that is their prerogative. And our protesters, who are Belizeans, who bear the brunt of what it will feel like to have to pay this, they decided to move with the moment. And that is all in the spirit of civil disobedience. So I do not necessarily share your view that there was anything outside the ordinary that occurred that day.
You call it good trouble, though.
Good trouble.
And we also had present and on camera Area Representative Lee Mark Chang essentially saying that you shouldn't make your right wrong. At some point, that good trouble turned into, as you can see on screen at this time, aggression. There were representatives storming in, seemingly looking like they were trying to get inside the building, where workers, employees of BTL, perhaps also feared for their safety. How do you respond to that?
As the chairlady had just said, there was no preparation. It was very last minute going there. We did not plan this. It just happened at the spur of the moment. And myself, when I saw the crowd moving in, I said, you know what, let us try to slow down the heat a little bit. This is our first demonstration. But like she said, the message has to be sent that we're serious and we want transparency.
Yeah. Leader Tracy, you mentioned that this is phase 1 of 4. What are the different phases that we can expect?
As many phases as is necessary. We cannot, I say again, we cannot allow the government to use the public's purse as though it belongs to the Briceño family. It's not. And you can't opt out, and I can't opt out of paying our Social Security. We have to. And if we miss a payment, or if we don't make, there are penalties, there's interest.
And it affects your benefits down the road.
And it affects your benefits down the road. While we recognize that SSB is very liquid and need to invest, we cannot invest in a situation where there's such a blatant SSB the chairperson of SSB resigned
From the BTL board.
from the BTL board.
So let me ask this question then. The buck has to stop with someone. So in this particular case, if you remove government out of the equation, for the purpose of this illustration that I'm making here, shouldn't the buck then not stop with the chairperson of the BTL board? What are your thoughts on the fact that perhaps he should have been transparent and open about this from the onset, which would have avoided all of the public doubt that has arisen because they were not clear and clean in what their intentions are?
Is he capable? Does he have the competence to do so? Does he have the wherewithal to do what he needed to have done? Was he instructed or directed in any particular way? Does he know the extent of his fiduciary duty and what it means for him to do? So for me, I wouldn't necessarily expect, but understand that this man, who is the chair of the board, is completely incompetent and ought not be there. You want to know where else the buck stops? PUC. We have currently a legislative framework that does not accommodate such a deal, and we've heard nothing from them. Absolutely nothing. So tell me, you want to put government aside. Let's not consider the chair of the board, Lizaraga, completely incompetent, and I have no qualm saying that. What of the PUC, that is the regulatory body, that is the body that is most important, because the more fundamental impacts of this deal has to do with the law and how the company can be regulated right now, considering that our legislation does not promote monopoly. So where is the PUC?
You're a legal man, and I'm glad that we have you here on the couch with us this morning. Part of what is being argued, at least what was shared with me on Friday, is that while the Telecommunications Act, as it stands, speaks to an anti-monopoly position, I'm just using it loosely, it doesn't, however, speak to mergers. And I don't know if we're splitting hairs when it comes to that.
And they have also come about and changed their tone when it comes to acknowledging that a monopoly is taking place. They are saying it's not a monopoly.
Let's get your take on that, Ms. Briggs.
Let me tell you, in any matter, and I'm not here to give free legal advice, I mean, it's how I make my money, but any argument, any legal problem, you will have two professionals who will be able to argue it two different ways to suit their position. And it is clear, the legislation is clear. Don't get invited into considering mergers and a merger is distinct from a monopoly, or don't get invited into thinking that this is not what it is. You know what it is. I know what it is. And this is truly one of those situations where, law aside, fancy words and technicalities aside, you cannot make the rent space in your head with this one.
Well, we have to put a quick pause to the conversation and take our first break. But when we come back, we will be continuing this conversation, discussing various other topics related to the status and the state of the UDP right now, and of course, what we can expect in the near future. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
My data don't, and I really need to get my ARA out today.
Really? Well, you can join our smart group plan.
Really? How that works?
Easy, let me tell you.
Whether it's family, friends, or your small business, we've got the perfect plan for every group. More members equals more savings, more connections. Smart group plans bring the connectivity you love to you and your circle. No one gets left behind. Explore Share One package option and add on unlimited data, calls, and SMS for the entire group for less than $50 per member. Visit any smart showroom countrywide or email sales@speednet-wireless.com to sign up today. Smart, bringing people together.
Enhanced service and faster sickness benefit claim processing are at your fingertips with SSB's healthcare feature accessible via the My Social Security self-service portal. Your convenience during illness is key. Now your doctor can certify your period of illness and your employer can confirm your employment details digitally, eliminating the need to visit our office. But wait, it gets better. You can also review the medical certificate provided by your doctor in your My Social Security account, along with real-time processing updates, keeping you informed. To ensure a smooth process, always review your electronic medical certificate before you hit submit. Upon submission, your employer is notified via email of your claim submitted to SSB and must respond within 48 hours for your claim to be automatically processed. For more information, check out our guides on our website and YouTube pages. Social Security at your fingertips.
Welcome back to Open Your Eyes. We are continuing our two-part discussion with members of the UDP. And before we had our first break, we were talking about the BTL Speednet acquisition and several developments that has been taking place for the better part of a few weeks. I want to go back to last week's protest that took place and make a quick acknowledgement of one of the first reactions, press releases that came from BTL. They essentially said that what took place from the UDP's protest was illegal. The way that you all stormed on the property, showing intent of going inside the building, and they made acknowledgement to that. What was your reaction?
I found it amusing, mildly amusing, because the UDP sought lawful permit to protest, and we got it. And what nobody has questioned is that the police presence was on the BTL compound, not on the sidewalk, not on the street, not to guard any kind of disruption if there were any. The police were on the BTL compound. Did you wonder how that came to be? I did, and I made inquiries, and you know what I found out? It was an instruction. Don't you find that curious? Don't you find it curious that the police department, the officers who were on the ground were instructed to occupy the compound as opposed to be on the public street with us?
Where they should have rightfully been.
Where they should have rightfully been. And if it were, we were so unlawful to enter public property, you know, BTL being an asset of the Belizean people, the police would have been instrumental, or ought to have been instrumental, in saying, hey, the board considered this private property. The board does not wish you to be here, and therefore you must be back on the street. That didn't happen. We were invited in. Go back to your footage. Go and check. When we went on the compound, we were invited in by the police. They said, come home. Come home. BTL belongs to the people.
That's where it gets confusing, I think, for me and perhaps many other viewers, because we acknowledge that BTL is indeed public, but the release said it's private property. What's the nuance between the two terms in that case? Is it really private?
Well, you see, and this is where those who want to justify the acquisition as one that the board can rightfully decide on its own, because they're treating the business as a corporate entity. It's set up as a corporate entity, and they're treating the acquisition as a commercial acquisition. And so it is the board of directors to do that. And the entity, the corporate entity, is a legal entity on its own. It owns property. And so in that respect, yes, it owns property, but property on behalf of the people of Belize.
I want to segue now to matters concerning the United Democratic Party. This BTL conversation is one that we can drag on all morning, and I appreciate the importance of it, but you're also here for other business, right? It's the first time we've had you guys on the couch together since the convention, and if I could piggyback on what transpired last Tuesday, perhaps it marks a turning point in your ability to bring people out for a common cause. What's been taking place in the United Democratic Party since you've become the party leader, and of course, since you, Sheena, have become the chairlady of the UDP? What's taking place in the opposition party?
You know, Isani, we have been busy on our family business, doing the work that we have to do to ensure that we can become the next government in 2030. We have been busy getting our secretariat up and running. We have been busy putting our party's mechanisms back to work. We have been busy in our 31 constituencies as we begin our preparedness for the municipal elections, and doing the work of the people, the most important work, which is holding this government administration to account.
What has it been like in your constituency, Lee Mark? Because I know for a while, even after having won your seat last year, things are kind of turbulent in Mesop still.
What do you mean in terms of turbulent, Sani? let me hear you. What you call turbulent?
It seems as if though someone didn't really want to leave, even though that someone did not win.
Oh,
and there seems to have been, excuse me, some friction behind the scenes.
Not by us.
No. I remember 1 year ago, a little bit less than 1 year ago, I was right here, probably the same position. And I think it was Paul that asked me the question, are you going in there to win or are you just going to be a spoiler? I told him, I don't fight to lose. I went there to win, and I went there to make sure we garner the seat and to make sure that we support Tracy as a leader and the leader of the opposition of this party.
How are you as a party now building this unified front? So for a while, the UDP was in a state of internal conflict. You've moved past that now. What has it been like in terms of the rebuilding and the reunification of the party across its supporters in Belize?
Well, I will say that there is a clear desire by all 31 of us to come together. We know what is at stake, and we understand that the only way we can regain the trust and the confidence of the people is by first holding ourselves to account. And so there has been certainly a lot of dialogue, which did not happen before. We've made decisions together by consensus, and in some instances unanimously, so that everybody knows that they have a place and they understand that their voice is important, and that as the leadership of the party, we are prepared to take their views into account. This is a new phenomena in the United Democratic Party. For the last 2 years, it was a one man, one voice situation, and we cannot continue to do the same things over and over and expect a different result. So we have agreed that the priority is for us to hold this administration to account, and the only way we can do that is by joining our voices together and doing the work that is well underway in terms of rebuilding the UDP.
Let me put the next. Sure, go ahead.
I would like to, as the party chair, close off for good any suggestion that there is any kind of chaos, confusion in Mesopotamia. You hear me say for good, right? We had our first National Party Council meeting after a national convention. The National Party Council is consisted of parliamentarians, the caretakers or standard bearers or area representative, plus their chair and their secretary of all constituencies. It also consists of any sitting mayors and councillors, members of the central executive. At that meeting, a motion was passed to formally establish, recognize, and lay to rest that when it comes to Mesopotamia, there is one person, the Honorable Lee Mark Chang, who is the area representative by virtue of the March 12, 2026 elections. And guess what? That motion was passed unanimously. So, my dear friend, I would hope that hereafter, even if you are paid, even if you are persuaded heavily to run any story that suggests there is a confusion in Mesopotamia, respectfully decline. Let no money, let no influence carry any news media, any news article concerning Mesopotamia. The UDP is moving forward in the most united way. Our National Party Council meeting was nothing but love. I tell you, nothing but love. There was no quarrel, there was no fight, there was no shouting.
Allow me one more question quickly. So, my next question is for Lee Mark, right? In the context of women in leadership. So the UDP for, I guess, most if not all of its existence up until now has been seen as a patriarchal organization, right? Where men were at the helm and men led the way all the way till earlier this year, last year, or what have you.
As both mass parties, yeah.
What has it been like for you in terms of accepting and appreciating the leadership of women in this political organization and the direction with which they're leading the party?
Isani, I love you answer this. And my wife, I hope she's listening. You know who that the boss of my house? My wife. When you understand that, you sleep well. Women are an integral part of this entire political arena and our country believes. They cannot be left outside. We all stand together. And I support the Honorable Tracy Panton for leader of the opposition and also the leader of the party. So men and women are equal. We have to move away from that 70s, 80s or way back time where men dominate. This is a free, equal world now. We're on equal footing. And sometimes, I just jokingly say, sometimes women have more rights than us men.
Feels that way sometimes, right?
Careful.
I said jokingly.
But you know, Honorable Chang said something very important, and I want you to stay with it. Gone are the days when we recognize that there is a particular sex for a particular area. Why do we keep asking questions as if though that is the state of affairs, or it ought to be, or it can remain? I found the question to be very entrapping, as if though we don't sit here in leadership capacities.
That wasn't the intention.
My point is this. It is not about sex. It is about leadership and your ability to lead. In politics, it comes with Honorable Panton enjoys tremendous support, undoubtedly. And so naturally, she found herself in leadership. For myself, it was a bit of a fight, I can tell you. And the votes turned out that, hey, because at the end of the day, when you subject yourself to that kind of process, you have to walk away from it knowing that it's no longer about sex. The numbers put me here, the numbers put Honorable Panton
But you would also
there.
appreciate that.
I want to say one thing though, Isani. It's really about our competency and our capacity to lead. We may lead differently, but we have the ability to lead. And I say we lead because we lead with compassion. And that's perhaps unique to women, and we've seen it in this region and the Western Hemisphere and the Northern side, where women bring a different type of leadership, but leadership nonetheless. So I don't want, while I recognize the milestone we have made as women that both our chairperson and I represent in this country. We are the first. We are the first women to lead a mass political party. And our chairlady is the first woman to be the chairperson of any political organization. So I think that that is critical, but we are here not because we're women. We are here because we have the competency and the capacity to do the job.
Fully understood. But what I'm pointing out is the fact that it represents a seismic shift in leadership. That's what I'm getting at. So I'm saying that perhaps in the background, there are some men who probably feel as though, okay, maybe we're on uncharted territory right now. How do we feel about, after so many decades now being led by women? Maybe that's a thought that's within the party. I'm just putting that there.
It's clearly a thought that you have, Isani, and I invite you to get on board. I certainly enjoy the full support of all my male colleagues on the UDP. I am the only female representative standard bearer for the United Democratic Party, and I have been able to command the respect and the support of my male colleagues. I think that speaks volumes of the UDP.
Allow me to use your last point, Ms. Panton, to segue into a different topic. You spoke of being standard bearers, and on set with us right now we have 2 area representatives. One of the topics that we have also been making waves on our headlines has been information, trying to get information, and we have been following the excuse me, we've been following social activist Jeremy Enriquez and his pursuit to gather information regarding funds that are given to area representatives for their constituencies. You would know that he received a 1-pager in regards to monies that have been given to area representatives. But on that list, we also saw your name and Mr. Chang's name. Share with us, if you are willing, how you go about using your constituency funds, which I believe is $10,000 a month?
So, the justification for the CDF is number of voters, and I don't support that premise. I think that the justification should be where there is the greatest need, you should provide the greatest number of resources. And we know in the south side of the country, there is the greatest need. Our allocation works out to what, $3 per voter? 3 Belize dollars.
In some areas, it's $1.82 in other constituencies.
Crazy, right? It's crazy. We, in Albert, and I can speak for Albert, we use the resources for where there is the greatest need. The greatest need right now is for healthcare. The greatest need is for education. The greatest need is for some sort of housing assistance, housing repairs. We help families when they lose loved ones, supporting them, and we do a number of community initiatives. We just supported, for example, the replacement of doors at the Anglican Cathedral Church, the oldest church, and we do a number of outreach, particularly to the elderly, most of them who live alone and don't necessarily have the support of their families readily available because the families are away. And so we use wherever there's a need that we can address with the resources that we're given. But I will say there's full accounting.
Yes.
There's full accounting for whatever resources we use and how we use it, their invoices, their receipts, and so, which we have to. We're mandated to file every month with the Ministry of Finance. So that information is available.
Would you be willing to share it with the media if it was requested? Because that has been something that we've been trying to ask.
So what we do is we collect the invoices and we submit it. So all our invoices are filed with the Ministry of Finance. We don't have copies of it. We just have the letter that states what are the allocations, you know, in the total amounts. But certainly the Ministry of Finance has available all the invoices and receipts for expenses we incur on behalf of the people.
But there's disparity between. One second, sir. There's a disparity between what is afforded to some constituencies over others, and I take your point about where's the greatest need. There should be bigger investments, right? But if you look at Stan Creek West, for instance, with over 9,000 or however many registered voters, it's the largest constituency by population. And the fact that Rodwell Ferguson is only getting $20,000 to service that entire constituency.
25, right?
25,000,
right?
yes.
It works out to about $1.82 per person,
One
right?
of the largest constituencies.
It is the largest in the country, right? But then you look at perhaps another area in Belize City where we have small constituencies. You look at the disparity of someone being able to get $3 versus someone being able to get $1.82. What can really be done in terms of providing the kinds of services to these people in these various communities that make up Stan Creek West, as opposed to Fort George or Mesopotamia?
Here we are getting to the redistricting
right back
conversation. And imagine, you hear what we're talking about? Do you know what we're spending our time on this couch talking about? The crumbs that we're giving to the taxpayers. Peanuts. We're quibbling over who get $1.82 or who get $3, but BTL will pay Speednet has spent $80 million. And we don't, that conversation doesn't get us angry enough. No, we are talking about when our people can't access primary health care, Isani, when we're investing $50 million in NHI, when we have babies dying at the KHMH, when we sell out our patrimony, when we sell off our, we acquire our dams and then sell them back, we did talk about $1.82 and we did talk about $3 to the people. And why is it that we don't hear every Belizean standing up against what we see happening in this country over and over and over and over again by the Briceño administration? I'm sorry, it angers me. It angers me. Because I have young mothers who can't take their children to a clinic because one, they don't get their proof of birth from KHMH. And you know why? Because they can't pay the bill. And if they get help to pay the bill, the cost of your birth certificate has gone up. So they have to wait again and they have to wait again and they have to wait again. And I have been relentless. Every time I have one of those cases, I call the CEO in the Ministry of Health. Every time I get one of those cases, I call the KHMH. Every time a sick grandmother is refused, has to come back because the specialist is not in today. People who have to travel all the way from PG to come to the National Referral Hospital to be turned back. So the government has a duty and an obligation to ensure that services are rendered to the taxpayers of this country. Whether it's in education, whether it's in health, whether it's in housing, we have to pull teeth to get help. A fire victim lost everything. And we made a request to the ministry responsible. We've eventually got the assistance. Eventually. No sense of urgency when there is a social safety net that is required to support the most vulnerable. I will say this one more time. The measure of a progressive and productive nation is how it treats its vulnerable. But we are quick under secret deals to pay those who can afford it $80 million of our taxpayers' money. It is time for us to get angry. And it is time for us to say enough is enough. We're sitting here talking about who gets $3 per constituent and who gets $1.82 per constituent, when basic infrastructure, when basic social safety net initiatives are being ignored by this administration. I'm sorry. It is unacceptable. It is unacceptable, and I don't care who is involved. You know, don't tell me that the proceeds of the sale will go into trust for the Belizean people, but the workers have to fight for their severance pay after the CCJ makes a ruling. It is not acceptable, and we can't sit here and quabble over the crumbs that the Belizeans are receiving. Let us do the work that a government must do. The redistricting is important so that we can have some equity in representation and how services are provided to the most needy and the most vulnerable in our societies.
I hear your point, Ms. Panton, but I think it's important for us to acknowledge as many issues as we possibly can, highlighting the funds that are given to constituencies and the need for equitable distribution does not discredit that we still acknowledge that there is a concern with the BTL Speednet acquisition.
No, and it was, my comment wasn't necessarily targeted at the question.
Okay.
So if you received it that way, let me clarify. Belizeans, all of us should be fighting for redistricting.
Yeah. I think that's what that issue shows.
So, right, we should, because we are being underserved by a government that has zero regard, in my opinion, about the well-being of its citizens. They are concerned about political expediency. And we have a political prerogative. The United Democratic Party has a political prerogative, but the issues facing us are not political issues. They're human issues that are the most vulnerable in our country have to bear.
What are the next steps that we can expect from the UDP where the acquisition is concerned? A lot of people are now looking to see if this deal will actually come to pass. We've heard from the PUC saying that they will stay in place. We heard that a statutory instrument will be put in place regardless if there is a deal, freezing the payments that would be paid for at least a year. What can we expect from the UDP in terms of its second phase? We know there's no official number of. You mentioned that there will be as many phases as it takes, but what's the next step coming from UDP?
I wanted to correct something you said. Yeah. So initially, there were going to be no increases in plans, carefully chosen terms for 1 year. Now we're up to 3 years. There'll be no, according to BTL, trying to sweeten the pot. There is no down payment now required for the deal to go through. It is my view that the British administration and Mark Lizarraga intends to close this deal, whether or not the Belizean people support it. We will continue to protest, and we will continue to advocate in ways that are lawful to ensure that we keep the pressure up. We continue to engage with our social partners. You know, the Honorable Lee Mark met with the BCCI along with our chairman for our Policy and Planning Committee. We are going to continue to do what we need to do to ensure the voices of the voiceless are heard.
All right.
One quick input into that. What do you expect the handpicked BTL board to do? What do you expect the handpicked PUC board to do? You think it's going to go any other direction than a yes? This is being shoved to us, the people of Belize, without consultation, without transparency. So what do you expect the outcome to be?
All right. Well, we do have to wind down this conversation at this time. It has been a pleasure having each of you here on set, taking the time to speak to us. As we wrap up, I will allow one person to share some parting thoughts to our viewers tuning in right now.
Odlita?
I yield to you.
No.
I wanted, first of all, thank the viewership for listening this morning. And we invite Belizeans to remain engaged. Do not underestimate the power of your voice. Let us not underestimate the power of one voice and the power of our collective voices. We cannot sit by and allow injustices to continue to happen in this country. We cannot allow the rights and the privileges afforded to us as Belizeans under our Constitution to be violated. A government is in place because we empower them. It's not the other way around. And so and it's not only injustices happening in this country, what is happening in this region, and I heard your earlier conversation before we came on the situation in Cuba, which we didn't get a chance to talk about, but which I have very definite views on, Cuba has always been a good friend to Belize. And so what is done to one will be done to all of us. So we must stand up and always stand up on the side of humanity.
All right.
Excellent.
Well, thank you very much for joining us, and we wish you guys all the best.
Thank you.
At this time, we take another quick break, but don't go anywhere. Our next conversation will be all about understanding the Nipah virus with Dr. Hidalgo.
Full-Tech Systems understand that technology isn't just a tool, it's a game changer. At home, smart devices and AI are revolutionizing daily life. In education, tech is making learning more interactive and accessible for students and educators alike. For businesses and government, it's driving innovation, streamlining operations, and unlocking growth, leveraging tech for better services, infrastructure, and security. At Full-Tech Systems, we help you thrive with cutting-edge solutions, partnering with leaders like Dell, HP, Microsoft, APC, Fortinet, Cisco, and Tomy Inc. We deliver the right products for your needs, whether it's boosting efficiency, improving customer engagement, or scaling operations. Connect with us and let's drive innovation together. Full-Tech Systems, your technology center, where you come for the price, but stay for the service.
In the heart of the Kaya district, Calico Jacks is proving that sustainability and success can go hand in hand.
When Calico Jacks wanted to move to solar energy, the biggest difficulty for us was the finance. Belize Bank believed in our vision, and we are very happy and grateful that they gave us this opportunity for the financing.
Through the Credit Risk Abatement Facility, a partnership between Belize Bank and the CARICOM Development Fund, small and medium businesses can access financing for renewable and energy-efficient solutions with reduced collateral requirements.
Here at SCSB, we're grateful for Belize Bank to make it easy for our clients to go green. We're proud to work with businesses like Calico Jacks to help them lower their costs and their carbon footprint.
At Belize Bank, we are powering Belize's transition to renewable energy, one business at a time. Together with our partners, we're making sustainable financing accessible for all.
Belize Bank, financing a greener, stronger Belize.
Maras me, my data don't I really need to get my ARA out today.
Really? Well, you can join our Smart Group plan.
Really? How that work?
Easy, let me tell you.
Whether it's family, friends, or your small business, we've got the perfect plan for every group. More members equals more savings, more connections. Smart group plans bring the connectivity you love to you and your circle. No one gets left behind. Explore Share One package option and add on unlimited data, calls, and SMS for the entire group for less than $50 per member. Visit any Smart showroom countrywide or email sales@speednet-wireless.com to sign up today. Smart, bringing people together.
Welcome back to Open Your Eyes. There's been a new virus on the news making headlines internationally, and we thought it important to bring it to the public's attention. We are going to take this next portion of the conversation to further understand the Nipah virus, and to help us with that conversation, we brought with us Dr. Hidalgo. He is, of course, a medical practitioner. He has been here several times speaking on various medical topics as well. Good morning, Dr. Hidalgo. Happy to have you back.
And good morning, and thank you for having me one more time.
Yeah, one more time. Hopefully not the last time. But perhaps we can begin with a quick breakdown of what the Nipah virus is. I know I first heard of this virus on the news where they were connecting it to a widespread in India. But is that where it originated from? Where is this virus coming from?
Yes, well, I think so. First of all, we want to just to ensure the population that this is just an informative conversation. We don't have no cases in Belize, and hopefully we don't. It's just to create awareness.
Yes.
Well, the Nipah virus is not as new virus. Actually, the first cases of Nipah virus were reported in Malaysia in 1998. The first outbreak happened in a pig farm, and at that point also some cases went to Singapore.
Doc, for the benefit of our viewers, explain to them what is the Nipah virus, how it's transmitted, and so on.
Yes, and I'm going to that direction just to give you some background of how to initiate. But the Nipah virus is one of the virus that we call it RNA virus. And what is important to us to understand is that those viruses have the ability to mutate. So far, it's not as bad as COVID, but eventually that's one of the concerns that we have. As this virus start to mutate, it's going to increase its transmissibility. So far, the carrier of that is that we call it the fruit bat, or the foxes and bats that lives in that region. And what is normally happen is that the people in that area, they like to consume this type of liquid from the dams, from the trees, and they usually go to the top of the tree, make a cut, put a jar to get the swamp, and then during the night, the bats go and they pee, or they get saliva there. And in the morning, when the people collect the jar,
with water,
it's already contaminated. And in Malaysia, this also the fruits get contaminated with saliva and the feces of the bats, and the pigs start to eat it. They get contaminated, start with flu symptoms, and they essentially transmit that to humans. In the case of the bats, it's also drinking the raw liquid from the.
So it's what we would describe as a zoonotical.
It's a zoonotic type of infection.
Yeah.
So this is it shows its symptoms in flu-like in like a flu-like symptom,
yes.
Right?
But also the concerning part of that is that you can have like a flu-like symptoms, but the most concerning part is also that it can affect your brain. It can lead to encephalitis. That means that the brain get infected, get swollen, and the patients initially can start only with some like flu symptoms, with cough and fever, and ended in ICU with respiratory conditions. But other group of patients can start with confusion. They can present it with seizures, and as similar ended into the ICU with a bad encephalitis case.
Now, I imagine viewers might be asking, if there are no cases in the country as yet, why are we using this opportunity to spread awareness? We know that there has been an outbreak in India, as you mentioned. This has the Nipah virus has been around for several years, for decades. However, it has returned and has been spreading in India primarily right now, where it has been making headlines. In Belize, we have quite a large population of Indians as well, who I imagine travel back and forth to the country. And so that is one of the primary reasons why we are using this opportunity to spread awareness on the Nipah virus. My next question is, are there vaccines in place that we can potentially use to protect ourselves from this virus?
Yeah, that's the next thing. So far, there are no vaccines available. There are no treatment available. There are some experimental treatment that they are using. We call it monoclonal antibodies, that, but unfortunately there is no treatment approved and no vaccine approved. As we are speaking, of course, the WHO raised that concern, and there are people working on trying to develop a vaccine in case of a potential pandemic. But hopefully no.
Is there a fatality rate of this virus?
That's the next thing. The fatality rate for Nipah virus is 40 to 75%. 25 more fatal than COVID.
Wow.
The advantage is that it's less transmissible than COVID. COVID is more transmissible.
Yeah, airborne.
Yes. And the other important thing is the incubation period. The incubation period varies from 4 to 15 up to 21 days, and in some cases they say it could be up to 45 days. I mean that someone who probably travel to a region, get exposed, they get the condition, they travel back to different areas, and start to develop symptoms.
If there's any silver lining, in a manner of speaking, is that with modern medicine, we've been able, and the COVID pandemic has been proof to this, we've been able to do research and, in terms of technology, come up with vaccines way quicker, much faster than what we've been doing in the past, where it took years, if not decades, for us to arrive at a vaccine for certain infections and what have you. Do you believe that now that the World Health Organization has been prompted to get involved, that it would expedite a vaccine?
Well, that's the what everybody expects. The advantage of this outbreak so far is that it happened ending of December, starting on January, where these 2 cases were detected and confirmed, and those cases were in a private facility in West Bengal, India. The good thing is that they managed to do all the tracing the contacts. They got more or less 190 people exposed to those 2 cases, and fortunately none of those so far has been tested positive.
Okay.
When they were quarantined and no one came back positive. The 2 cases that were confirmed in that facility, luckily they went to the ICU, but they survived. No?
If there are persons who are traveling at this time, as you mentioned, there are no vaccines in place, but they start developing flu-like symptoms, what are specific things that you should look for in terms of an indicator that you might need to visit your doctor and test for Nipah?
Yeah, well, the most important thing is, one, so far, all the cases were contained. The outbreak is, as we're speaking, contained. There are no cases documented outside of India.
Okay.
The neighbor countries of Asia, they definitely put all the different measures in place in the airport, because just to give you a very quickly and rapid background, all the countries that have Nipah cases in the last 20 years is Bangladesh. They have usually some cases on a regular basis. Malaysia, the Philippines, and Singapore. In those countries on Asia and countries on Africa that they have this type of bats, they put some of the countries already implement measures at the airport. But if we start to develop like flu symptoms, and we know and we knew that we already went to places where are potential for those Nipah virus, then they need to look seek for medical attention and see that they were to those places, and that they will need to be tested for that.
So immediately after showing flu-like symptoms, after visiting those countries, you would recommend for them to get a test. What does that test look like?
Coming back to COVID, no, the advantage with COVID is that the technology, who is basically is available. We need to have the reagents. No, the PCR machines are available more in most of the countries due to the COVID. No, I mean that this the technology is there. It's just that if in case of we have an outbreak, then we need to have the reagents and the ability to test for that.
At this time, Doc, if there becomes a spread outside of these countries, would Belize be equipped and prepared for something like that to arrive in this country?
Well, COVID proved that most of countries, especially with the low and middle income countries, and even the countries we have all the technology, when we have a pandemic, usually the health system suffers, no, and then and we already experienced that with COVID, where essentially even the most important countries with all the technology and resources, they get into troubles, no, and then of course countries like us usually are going to be in more trouble, and hopefully we don't reach to that stage that we need to have and the availability of all those technologies. You know. As I said before, you know, this is a virus that essentially the treatment is just conservative, just general measure, fluids, ICU resources if needed. No.
Which is really not that comforting to hear, but what are some measures that persons that may be traveling to these countries that have Nipah virus can take to protect themselves?
Well, the most important thing as a general, even if to protect for respiratory conditions, is that you need to, first of all, the common thing, you know, wash your hands with, and even if you don't have hand sanitizer, with water and soap, that's proof that it's effective. If you believe that you are traveling long way and you see people or you have people coughing close to you, wear your mask. Or even if you are not that, but you are traveling to those regions, is reasonable and to as a general measure to wear your mask, you know, to prevent that.
Even though it's not airborne, and you mentioned that it's not necessarily transmissible from one person to the next.
Exactly. Even so that in crowded areas is usually one of the things that we need to have an additional precaution.
Excellent. Doc, I always value the opportunity to inform our audience, in this case the Belizean people, because we're also up against misinformation, and if one thing the COVID pandemic has taught us is how quickly misinformation spreads, right?
Yes.
So it's easier for us to present what we know factually about a illness, a disease in this case, as opposed to perhaps people doing their own research and coming up with their own theories.
Yes.
What's your take on that?
No, absolutely. The most important thing, and especially those days with the ability to us to go to the internet and get any kind of information, is best if we have objective information and at least ways to how we can direct the people and where to find information.
Yes, I think of also people who might be consulting Google, you know, simple Google or the internet to diagnose themselves too. You know, that is the reason why we have conversations like this, to inform you that this virus in particular is not present at this time in the country and at least not in the region as well. Yeah. As we wind down the conversation, Doc, do you have any final thoughts you'd like to share in terms of how we can prepare ourselves, again, when we travel, for persons simply in airports as well? You might not be going to Bangladesh or Malaysia or India, but you're traveling in airports, and it's also important to remember to keep yourselves protected from viruses there as well.
Yes, well, you know, you not only can contract respiratory condition, you can contract gastrointestinal conditions traveling to other countries. I mean that, as we usually say, the simple things that is proved that work, washing hands, hygiene are critical. Keep yourself well hydrated, drinking, of course, water from safe sources. And again, if you have exposed to, or you are traveling together with people that you see that are coughing, wear your mask. You know, trying to extreme your precautions. We already, in the last month or two, we've seen a lot of cases, and we discussed the last time this amount of cases of respiratory conditions, gastrointestinal conditions. I mean, that is just to emphasize how important are to keep those simple measures.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us, Dr. Hidalgo. It's always a pleasure having you here, and we look forward to having you again very soon.
Thank you.
All right, we take another quick break, but don't go anywhere. Our next conversation is about building future innovators with ITSAT STEAM Academy.
District, Calico Jacks is proving that sustainability and success can go hand in hand.
When Calico Jacks wanted to move to solar energy, the biggest difficulty for us was the finance. Belize Bank believed in our vision, and we are very happy and grateful that they gave us this opportunity for the financing.
Through the Credit Risk Abatement Facility, a partnership between Belize Bank and the CARICOM Development Fund, small and medium businesses can access financing for renewable and energy-efficient solutions with reduced collateral requirements.
Here at SCSB, we're grateful for Belize Bank to make it easier for our clients to go green. We're proud to work with businesses like Calico Jacks to help them lower their costs and their carbon footprint.
At Belize Bank, we are powering Belize's transition to renewable energy, one business at a time. Together with our partners, we're making sustainable financing accessible for all.
Belize Bank, financing a greener, stronger Belize.
All right. On the one fund the window open and the light may turn off. It looks like you listen to me, Jamie.
Not only that, I even get a new coffee mug where keep my coffee hot all day.
I'm impressed. You don't look like you're so hard, yes?
Better than that, BL can change my meter to one of their new smart meter. They call it the AMI.
Oh, I hear about it on TV from BL. How do you know?
Yes, man. They don't reach the man better to change it right now. Let's go check it out.
Hey guys, I'm almost done here.
So that when you reach my area?
We're upgrading meters across Belize. House by house, business by business. Always look out for BL logo, uniforms, and IDs. BL will make you know when we're in the area. The EMI meter rollout is a part of BL strategy to modernize our energy services.
You don't need to come in at my house, right?
Come in at your house, boss, only if you got something good for you.
BEL, bringing you a brighter tomorrow.
Maras me, my data don't I really need to get my ARA out today.
Really? Well, you can join our smart group plan.
Really? How that work?
Easy, let me tell you.
Whether it's family, friends, or your small business, we've got the perfect plan for every group. More members equals more savings, more connections. Smart group plans bring the connectivity you love to you and your circle. No one gets left behind. Explore Share One package option and add on unlimited data, calls, and SMS for the entire group for less than $50 per member. Visit any smart showroom countrywide or email sales@speednet-wireless.com to sign up today. Smart, bringing people together.
Enhanced service and faster sickness benefit claim processing are at your fingertips with SSB's healthcare feature, accessible via the My Social Security self-service portal. Your convenience during illness is key. Now your doctor can certify your period of illness, and your employer can confirm your employment details digitally, eliminating the need to visit our office. But wait, it gets better. You can also review the medical certificate provided by your doctor in your My Social Security account, along with real-time processing updates, keeping you informed. To ensure a smooth process, always review your electronic medical certificate before you hit submit. Upon submission, your employer is notified via email of your claim submitted to SSB and must respond within 48 hours for your claim to be automatically processed. For more information, check out our guides on our website and YouTube pages. Social Security at your fingertips.
Welcome back. This is our final leg of the morning and our final conversation, but certainly not the least. We are joined this morning by representatives of ITSAT STEAM Academy, and they're here to talk a bit about how they are building future innovators. Joining us is Christine Cox. She is the principal of ITSAT STEAM Academy. Also here with us are second and third form students, Nayeli Panton, she's in second form, and Tyler Gabriel in third form. Guys, thanks so much for joining us and welcome. It's a chilly Monday morning, but we're happy to have you guys here.
Thanks for having us too.
Now, I know that we've had you guys on the show with us multiple times. I remember when we started the conversation around having this type of an institution here in the country, and it's so crazy to think now that we have a third former here who you, Tyler, will be one of the first graduates of ITSAT STEAM Academy. Congratulations to you. Let's quickly, in the short time that we have, take a quick moment to acknowledge the journey that ITSAT has been on since it started.
Right. So thank you so much for having us again. And every year we come because there's something new that we have. For example, Tyler here being a third year student, he comes from the computer science pathway. So when we first started ITSAT, we started first form and second form, but then, traditional schools, they have majors. And so the majors would be either a science major or business major. At ITSAT, our third formers have 3 different majors that they can choose from. Computer science being one, engineering and manufacturing being the second.
Wow.
And the third one is health and sustainable technologies. And so there are 3 different pathways, but all centered around STEAM.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, immediately what stands out to me is the last pathway, which is health and technology. Can we talk about how that merges together to align these students with potentially even careers?
Right. So again, health and sustainable technologies that pathway is for the students who love the sciences. And so it is interesting to see, because we just had like an open day for the pathways. It's interesting to see how those students from that pathway, they focus a lot on research. They're heavy on the research, and also the sustainable technologies is because now they have to look at issues that Belizeans are facing and coming up with ideas and prototypes to help solve those challenges that we have. And it's funny because when we're discussing, they're like, we're the researchers, we can find the technology, but we'll hand it over to the engineering and manufacturing folks to design it and build it, and then we're going to hand it over to computer science to code it.
It's all connected.
So it's all connected, and they've found that connection for themselves, and I think that is what's interesting for me.
Yes, I want to get Tyler and Nayeli in the conversation. Before I go over to Tyler, I want to introduce Nayeli once more. She's a second form student, so in just about a year, she will have to make that decision of what pathway she wants to choose. This kind of sounds like a movie almost, but Nayeli, tell me a bit about what your journey has been like being a part of ITSAT.
Honestly, it has been really, really great. It has been an amazing experience, honestly, because from coming to second form now, I've learned a lot that I don't believe I would have learned at a regular high school. One being the ability to present. When I was younger, I was always afraid of talking to new people or big crowds, but now coming from first form, with all of the different things and exercises that we did, we went through a lot of researching. They helped us to get more comfortable with the people around us and with how we speak to other people. So that helped me a lot.
What made you choose ITSAT over perhaps any other high school that you could have attended here in the country?
What stood out to me was STEAM. What it stood for was science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. So for me, art has always been a big thing. I enjoy drawing, and my first goal was that I was going to become an architect. That's what I thought before. But now seeing that it's a wider variety of things that I haven't even thought about when I was younger, I'm also now thinking of becoming a marine biologist. So I chose this school because I believe that the different competencies of our school could drive me to have a great career in the future.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Now, Tyler, you have been on this journey for the past 3 years. Tell me about what has been some of the best highlights for you.
So, for me, some of the best highlights at my time or my journey at ITSAT would be the people I met, the abilities or skills that I learned, and just the environment that we are surrounded with. Because I feel like ITSAT STEAM Academy is different from other schools, not only with the competency-based learning, but also with the environment that they nurture. Because from first form, we were brought in not really knowing each other, and ITSAT, or Miss Christine, she not forced us, but she got us acquainted with each other to where we built long-lasting friendships that would also help us not only with our projects, but when we needed support on a personal level, we could always go to our peers, or we have peer helpers or prefects. We could always go to any one of them and just talk to them, or they'll always be there for support. So that's one big highlight that I would say I really love about ITSAT and my journey. It's just the people that you get to meet and you get to surround yourself with.
So tell you what, I'm sitting here and I'm jogging my memory, and I could recall interviewing you 3 years or so ago at the opening of ITSAT, right? And I can see the maturity in terms of how well spoken you are.
Yeah, he's so eloquent.
Yeah, and being able to
How old are
deliver
you?
your point.
I just turned 15 last year in November.
Yeah. That's a significant leap in terms of your mental acuity and what have you.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go back to Christine. So you have taken over the leadership of ITSAT as well, because I recall interviewing you in another capacity.
Right.
What has it been like now being at the helm of the school and being able to, one, uphold the quality of education that these students are receiving, and two, take them in a certain direction under your leadership?
It has been a very big challenge. I will never downplay that. I think any principal would agree with me that taking on a leadership role is extremely difficult and challenging. But I think when you're passionate about this kind of education like I am, I think that it's what has made me dedicated to my students. And one of the things that I'm finding challenging right now is finding experts in these STEAM fields to come and teach my students, you know. And so I've had to get really creative in how, so for example, for computer science, if we can't find a computer science expert, we'd have to create, what we bought is a program for them that is actually self-paced, so they can learn how to code HTML, JavaScript, CSS. But again, you know, it's always interesting because when you're faced with challenges, you're forced to become creative.
Yes.
Because you can't just say, oh, well, there's no teacher. So I think that, and it's also very fun for me, I think, you know, seeing how I can navigate all these challenging. But it has been very challenging being at the head, but also with the support of my students, my parents, and teachers, that has helped me a lot.
So we're at a frontier point in education at this time where artificial intelligence is right there. How are we incorporating that into the STEAM curriculum?
So it's interesting. I just hired a teacher, and he was saying, you know, AI was banned for us. Nobody wanted to use AI, but at the school, we've embraced AI technology, and we've looked at it as a tool, not as something that we can copy from. But just like how back in the days when Google was introduced, nobody wanted to use it, but now it became common. Now everybody uses it.
We even made it a word, an action word.
Right. So similar.
I Googled it.
So similar to Google, AI is now something that we use as a tool to support our learning. So for example, when we're coding, you know, if we get stuck on something and we need to debug, we can use the AI to assist and support us in that manner. So it's not to copy and paste, and I think that is the perception that people have. We're just going to put it in the AI and copy it and not read it or review it. But this is why I teach them to use it responsibly, and I also show them the mistakes that the AI will pick up and give you if you don't sit down and read it. So and of course they have Chromebooks. So they have access to AI, and I always believe that with teens, if you tell them not to do something, they're going to do it.
They're going to get even more curious.
That's right. And so now if you open it up to them and show them and guide them, then I think that's the best possible strategy that schools can take.
Yes. All right. Well, I want to quickly go over to what the interest has been looking like now, because I imagine, are expecting a new cohort of students coming in for their first year experience of ITSAT. Are applications open and available for people to apply?
Yes, we opened applications January 13th, and we're looking at 1 month for those applications to be out. It can be found on our website, as that's how we usually do it. We don't use paper because we're a paperless school. And so it's opened up to students between the ages of 11 to 14, boys and girls, and we're looking at that balance between boys and girls. And so yeah.
Do you have a cap on how many students will be available to, or will be able to join the ITSAT family?
Yes. So we always have a cap because of the space that we have. We have space for 75 students.
Okay.
Yeah, and so the applications that come in, we're going to be doing it a little differently this year, where we're going to look at their reason for wanting to be at ITSAT. Because I think one of the preconceived notions of ITSAT is that it is a IT vet, but it is not an IT vet. It is a STEAM school dedicated to students who are interested in computer science, for example, you know, engineering as an example. And so if your child is interested in that area, then this would be the school for you. It's not just a school, because I've had parents say, oh, do you do like nails? And that is IT vets.
More trade.
Niche, yes.
Yeah.
Same component across the other side.
That's right. But that is their niche, where they do those things, and they do it well. So yeah. That's
all right. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us. This has been a wonderful conversation. At this time, we are going to take a very quick break and usher in one last conversation. We'll be joined by representatives of the Financial Intelligence Unit to talk about anti-money laundering.
In the heart heart of the Kaya district, Calico Jacks is proving that sustainability and success can go hand in hand.
When Calico Jacks wanted to move to solar energy, the biggest difficulty for us was the finance. Belize Bank believed in our vision, and we are very happy and grateful that they gave us this opportunity for the financing.
Through the Credit Risk Abatement Facility, a partnership between Belize Bank and the CARICOM Development Fund, small and medium businesses can access financing for renewable and energy-efficient solutions with reduced collateral requirements.
Here at SCSB, we're grateful for Belize Bank to make it easy for our clients to go green. We're proud to work with businesses like Calico Jacks to help them lower their costs and their carbon footprint.
At Belize Bank, we are powering Belize's transition to renewable energy, one business at a time. Together with our partners, we're making sustainable financing accessible for all.
Belize Bank, financing a greener, stronger Belize.
Maras me, my data don't, and I really need to get my ARA out today.
Really? Well, you can join our smart group plan.
Really? How that work?
Easy, let me tell you.
Whether it's family, friends, or your small business, we've got the perfect plan for every group. More members equals more savings, more connections. Smart group plans bring the connectivity you love to you and your circle. No one gets left behind. Explore Share One package options and add on unlimited data, calls, and SMS for the entire group for less than $50 per member. Visit any smart showroom countrywide or email sales@speednet-wireless.com to sign up today. Smart, bringing people together.
In the heart of the Kaya district, Calico Jacks is proving that sustainability and success can go hand in hand.
When Calico Jacks wanted to move to solar energy, the biggest difficulty for us was the finance. Belize Bank believed in our vision, and we are very happy and grateful that they gave us this opportunity for the financing.
Through the Credit Risk Abatement Facility, a partnership between Belize Bank and the CARICOM Development Fund, small and medium businesses can access financing for renewable and energy-efficient solutions with reduced collateral requirements.
Here at SCSB, we're grateful for Belize Bank to make it easy for our clients to go green. We're proud to work with businesses like Calico Jacks to help them lower their costs and their carbon footprint.
At Belize Bank, we are powering Belize's transition to renewable energy, one business at a time. Together with our partners, we're making sustainable financing accessible for all.
Belize Bank, financing a greener, stronger Belize.
Welcome back. This is our final conversation, and as we mentioned before the break, we will be spending a bit of time talking about an anti-money laundering conference. We are joined this morning by Romelio Castaneda. He's the National Risk Assessment Coordinator representing the Financial Intelligence Unit, FIU. Also here with us is Derek Connerkey. He's a coordinator representing the UB Institute of Banking and Finance. Gentlemen, good morning and welcome. Thanks so much for joining us.
Good morning.
Perhaps we can quickly go into it. The Anti-Money Laundering Conference that is set to take place. When is it, and who can attend?
Well, first of all, thank you for having us as part of the show.
Yes.
This Anti-Money Laundering Conference is the third annual one. We have had two previous ones. I think one was in 2023, the other one 2024. We kind of skipped 1 year, but we're back in full swing, and this is the
third edition.
Third one. And with the collaboration from the Financial Intelligence Units through, which is the association or the group that is forming part of this, the organizers, is the National Anti-Money Laundering Committee, NAMLAC. And we have partnered with UB from ever since, I believe. And Mr. Connor Key is a representative from UB to, explain more in terms of where we're at.
Yeah. Well, let's get Mr. Konarki in the conversation, speaking to the collaboration and why UB felt it important to be a part of an initiative like this.
The collaboration primarily is the National Anti-Money Laundering Committee, as what he mentioned, and it incorporates supervisory entities. So you have the Central Bank, FIU, even departments, police department, customs, tax, and so forth. So they play the key role in supervising the, what we'd call the financial system, but also non-financial sectors. So real estate agents, attorneys, accountants, and the like. UB-wise, we have as you mentioned, the Institute of Banking and Finance, and we focus on financial risk certifications. We have AML, we have cybersecurity, we have fintech, we have fraud risk management, and we have other one-off short courses too that focus primarily on helping the organization provide a better effort in terms of compliance risk management.
So why is there so much focus on AML and what AML can do to negatively impact the financial sector? We think about terrorism financing, we think about drugs, and all of these other things.
That's a good question. When it comes to anti-money laundering, from the basic, you think of money laundering as illegal activities, and from the illegal activities you generate illegal funds. So the idea is that as much as possible, try to prevent or manage, because when it continues, it affects us in two main ways. One, businesses are then being competing with illegal activities, so naturally it will put a strain on the honest businessman. And secondly, once the country itself continues to have a bad financial reputation, it affects us with our international opportunities, funding, and different areas that affect the financial system.
So we think of like correspondent banking and all these other things.
And just to add to what Mr. Connor Key mentioned is that when we look at Belize on a whole, we are not only mandated by our local laws, but we have to be in tune with the international standards, which is the FATF standards, which is the Financial Action Task Force, which is the international body who make sure that they make recommendations for countries to be, one, in technical compliance in terms of their rules and regulations. We look at their recommendation, we make amendments to our local laws, and also they look at the how effective, the second part of it, the effectiveness. You could have the best laws set in books. How effective are we monitoring up in the application of these rules and regulations? So the conference gears us to make sure that we have looked, first of all, at the previous assessments. We look at the mutual evaluation, we look at the results. This conference kind of puts everything on the table and looks at the results. How effective are we in terms of technical compliance? How effective are we in terms of the implementation of those? And how do we do a follow-up on those recommendations that they have marked as, where we're inefficient in terms of following up? And I guess the previous sessions, they were looking also at how this new technology, artificial intelligence, cyber transactions in terms of doing what we call the VAS, which are the virtual assets, people who conduct stuff like that. We want to hone in on those and see how effective their anti-money laundering regime is. Are they following their own protocols? Do they have a compliance officer? Do they have things in-house? And those things in-house relate to Belize, as in the national scheme of things. So.
How is Belize keeping up in terms of, one, adhering to certain international standards where financial action and transactions are concerned?
we have in the past risk assessment, and we had the mutual evaluation reports. There's a section of FATF who monitors us in the Caribbean, which is the CFATF. We look at them and they make our assessments. And then Belize, we're proud to say that Belize has been one of the highest ones in the hemisphere, in the section with the highest ratings in technical compliance. We have been one of in the first 15% of people who comply, who have been rated the most compliant in terms of, we look at the regulations, we have done, I think it was out of the 40, we did 38 compliant, and the other 2 were largely non-compliant, which means that there's some inefficiencies there that we have to look at, and hence the follow-up on those recommendations is important, and this is what we're looking at in this conference, analyzing where we are, what have happened, what needs to be done, and not only with the help of locals, but international assistance.
I just want to plug in really quickly because I think you were touching on it just a moment ago, Mr. Castaneda, and for my own curiosity, I wonder how Belize is handling the emergence of businesses that are, or just persons that are trading online with these Bitcoins and whatnot. Because cryptocurrency, I imagine that's a space and a huge potential for money laundering as well.
Yes, and I don't know if you guys had received a copy of the agenda, but let me quickly, on the final day of the event of the conference, turns towards operational effectiveness, meaning that we're improving the quality and strategic use of suspicious transaction reports, dealing with enhanced due diligence, dealing with different types of fraud typologies, and this includes AI and cyber security tools responsibility. So while this might be something that is out in the market for some time, in the international market, Belize is relatively new to it.
Yeah.
And
it almost feels like we're a little bit scared to tap into it, though. I don't know.
I think to some extent, the fear of not knowing what it is kinds of put that blockage.
But there are so many people in Belize doing it.
Yes.
Trading online.
And this is where UB has been efficient, and they have been integrating their courses so that not only the FIU or the Financial Services Commission or the Central Bank or the major competent authorities, not only they are doing there, but UB is also engaging in training.
Yeah. Mr. Conakry, I see you smiling. Are you teaching us how to...
When it comes to the technological part, as you mentioned, there's this vast advancement in technology, and very, in a positive way too, it also means our financial transactions and our financial journey and experience, especially banking, has become convenient, right? But with every innovation, there's also challenges, and that is where the cyber security or the security aspect of it comes in. For us, at the moment, when we're referring to, for example, concepts like crypto and those, as Mr. Castaneda rightfully mentioned, it's still relatively new. As a matter of fact, it was just December of last year. Up to December of last year, we had the ban on anything related to virtual assets. So up to now, what is really happening is a educational, what we would say, educational journey to let persons learn more about the idea of virtual assets. So we have the courses, but there's also that regulatory framework that has to first be laid comfortably, because of course there will be some hiccups in the beginning, and from there, once the education aspect takes place, then we will start to see much more players, much more private businesses and individuals start to engage in that space.
Is this, I go back to what I was asking though, but is this a space that we could potentially see money laundering be used for as well though? Cryptocurrency, virtual assets.
Remember, money laundering is anything
moving
illegal.
Of any,
yeah, so it's not, it's more than just, it's drug trafficking, it's human trafficking, it's there. So you can't 100% prevent it, but we just have to always have a approach where we're responding to the different challenges that we have. So the education element, the regulatory oversight, and also the cooperation which comes from, for example, the conference where we have local and international professionals in fintech, cybersecurity, banking, and all the other elements who come and share ideas. We have persons from the Caribbean, North America. Everybody have the same issue, so the idea is just to share as best as possible and give some actionable points. And even with our university regarding the courses, it's 100% online. So we have students from Jamaica, students from Barbados, students outside of Belize who can tap into that opportunity.
So who can attend the conference? It seems this is an opportunity for even younger people interested to learn as well.
Yes. Before we get to that, the traditional way of what we used to think about money laundering and the predicate offenses leading on, because not everything is money laundering. They might have logging, right? It might be a predicate offense, but what do you do with it at the end of the day? So when we look at activities like that, we move away from what the traditional course of money laundering was and looking at the financial institutions. So the rules, the recommendations look at financial institutions, which is FIs, and another sector which is called the DNFBPs, which is the designated non-financial business and professions. So we have seen that they're moving away from processing anything that has to do with money laundering from banks and credit unions, and we look at casinos, we look at car dealers, we look at real estate, and all of those other sectors have some sort of interaction dealing with cryptocurrencies, dealing with online transactions. So this is where we are. We are trying as much as possible to see where the regulatory framework is. We have our work cut out ahead of us, because these threats, they evolve. I saw, Digicel has a big billboard that says threats evolve, so do we. And that is a perfect slogan, because these things happen and we have to keep up with what is going on with the emerging trends. So,
well, gentlemen, we do have to wind down the conversation, unfortunately. So I'll ask once more, how can persons attend the conference and the period?
Most of the attendants are, like I said, the financial institutions and people dealing with the non-financial sector.
Okay.
We have sent out, the Financial Intelligence Unit have sent out invitation to all these sectors. If you, as a civilian, want to attend, I think we can still, there's space available, because we, compared to the previous ones, we're looking at 300 and we went to 500 participants. This year around, we're aiming for 900. So there's space for virtual attendance, and there's space also for in-persons. And this will be happening on February 23rd, 24th, and 25th at the Belize Civic Center. And everybody's invited. If you're really interested, you can contact the FIU office, and we can see how we can fit you in, because it is an issue of national importance.
You have to pay to attend?
Yes, there is a fee. I'm not familiar. I don't remember all the fees, but
so
I think
we can pull back up the flyer once more to see if there's a fee associated with the event.
I know there was an early bird special, but I don't recall.
Yes.
Or you can just check out the website.
Yes,
and
definitely.
It's $550 in person, $350 virtually, 500 group rates.
Yes.
And all right. For more information, you can reach out to the FIU. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us, and we wish you guys all the best.
Thank you for having us here.
All right. Well, we do have to wrap things up at this time. Isani, it's been a jam-packed show, and we want to say thank you to everyone who joined us this morning, and also you guys for tuning in with us. It is February 2nd, and if you're celebrating a birthday today, happy birthday to you. If you'd like to give a birthday shout out, or if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can send us an email at oie@channel5belize.com. You can also catch us on Facebook, that's Open Your Eyes BZ, as well as Instagram for behind the scenes content, that's OIE Belize. You can even call us or text us on our OIE phone number, that's 675-2555. But please do us a favor and join us again tomorrow when you open your eyes
to start your morning right.
Until then, keep your eyes, your mind,
And your heart's open.
Have a wonderful Monday, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
Open Your Eyes was brought to you by the Belize Bank, our country, your bank, and SMART, bringing people together.